Hi everyone, welcome to this practice on the functional lines. The functional lines are what give us power and torque. Think of like throwing something like a pitcher throwing a ball. So it's what connects the opposite arm and hip. So this kind of cross movement, that powerful cross movement. So what we're going to do is, oh, and by the way, there's multiple functional lines. There's a back one and a front one as well. So let's start on the back and get into glute max. You'll need 2 balls for this one and I think just 1 block for the rest of practice. So we're going to get to actually I'll show you first. We're going to get into the upper fibers of the glute max. So the way I like to explain this is if you find your bum crack, I'm sure we all have different bum cracks, but generally speaking, top of your bum crack, and we're going to go side to side. So very top of the bum crack, and we go lateral to that. So just at the top of the tissues there, but we're not on the pelvis. We're not on the bone. So right where your bum starts to become a bit fleshy. So come on down. We'll do we'll do both at the same time. Wow. So top of bum crack, balls are maybe 1 inch apart, let's say, not even. And then just rest your hips down, let yourself get heavy. And then sway your bum from side to side really slowly. This is one of my favorite ones. I just love this sensation. Now, with time, as you rock from side to side, the balls will split apart, and that's okay. Just bring them back together, but try to do this really slow and wait till the balls are right on the edge before you move them again. So looking for the very top of the glute max fibers, cross fibering from side to side. If you find any nice spots, you can stay there. Otherwise, just keep rocking from side to side. We'll do this for just a couple more breaths. I love this one. So that's probably good, although I could stay here a lot longer. Place your balls off to the side and roll onto your side. Come on up. And we'll take Ardha Matsyendrasana to stretch the glute max. So left leg folds in. This leg can also be straight. Right leg crosses over so your foot is on the ground. Anchor your right sit bone down. I'm not mirroring you, okay? And then you can take your right fingertips back behind you to help lift your sternum up. Reach your left arm up and either exhale and hug your knee in towards your opposite shoulder, or hook elbow outside of your thigh. I find the hugging into opposite shoulder gets more into the glute max, but you can just play around and see what's best for you. So root both of your sit bones down into the floor. Feel the sides of your waist lengthen. And maybe picture your right butt cheek like a piece of fabric or spider web gently being pulled. And we've got about another 30 seconds left here. Take a big breath in. Twist a little bit more for the exhale. And then slowly come back through to center, and we'll go right to the other side. So it's your right leg that's on the floor now, and you can stretch it out if you like, and your left leg that crosses. Left hand goes back behind you. Take an inhale to lift your sternum up, and then exhale, either hug your knee in to opposite elbow or cross your elbow to outer thigh, whatever feels best. 2 minutes here. Take a big breath in. Stay for the breath out and twist. And slowly come back to center. Nice. So you can take your hands back behind you and wiggle your legs from side to side. We're going to get into the pecs now. We're going to do something a little bit different than, because we've seen the pecs before. We've worked with the pecs before, but we'll do something just slightly different. So for this one, you'll need a block and a ball. Basically, what I'm going to do is have the ball, we want it to be above the breast tissue and below the clavicle. So right about there. And I'm going to place the ball on top of a block and come down onto the belly, okay? So let's do this together. Let's go right side first. So lay down onto your belly. Have your block nice and flat, ready to go there. And then place, so then your right arm will cactus and go wide of the block. Or wherever you need to place it really is fine. And then go ahead and place the ball on top of the block. And I've got my block angled a bit, so there's room for my breast. Don't want to crush that. And then you can stack up fists if you like. I'm going to make a fist with my left hand and just let my right hand relax. And I'm going to bring my forehead to my left hand, or left fist, I should say. So let's just find compression on the pec major here. So just finding one spot, trusting where you landed. Remember, your sensation will be very different from mine, and where you need to be in your body will be different. So you can play around with the placement of the block and just see what works best for you. You might not even need the block. You might want to just bring it right down to the ground, but have a little play. And then you can lift your right arm up. We've done this part before. And you're just going to reach your arm up, keeping your elbow bent, and then take your elbow in towards your side. So doing a little like half snow angel movement with your right arm. Maybe just find one spot and pause. Okay, lift your head up, place your props off to the side. For our pec stretch, I'm going to show you two variations. I know people love this first one I'm going to show you, but it just doesn't feel good on me. It crushes my boob and it just doesn't work. So I'll show you two, okay? So cactus your right arm and then just roll over onto your side like so. I am going to do this instead. You can do it with me if you like. I'm going to use a wall. So essentially do the exact same thing, but now my chest is free. So my right arm will go to the wall and then I'm going to turn my torso away from the wall. Okay, so whatever works best for you. We'll be here for about a minute. Your postures never need to be perfect or exact. We're just looking to stretch the tissue. So don't be attached to what it looks like. Stay for about 3 more breaths. Okay, if you're at the wall, you can release and come to seated position. If you are on your belly, flip over onto your back. And we'll all just take a few moments to let that settle. Notice the difference, right side of chest versus left side. Does one shoulder feel like it's sitting higher than the other, or further forward or further back? And it might be nice while we're here, if you're seated, I guess, if you're in Shavasana, feel free to come out for a second, but just move your arms a bit, do some arm circles, and just see how it feels side to side. For me, it feels completely different. It feels so much more spacious, which is quite amazing because we weren't actually working on that muscle for too long. So let's do the other side. So left pecs. You'll need your ball and your block. And you know where we're going, so you'll cactus your left arm. And we'll just do some compression to start off with. So just finding one spot and staying. And then you can lift your arm up if you want, you don't have to. And do that snow angel motion. If you find a spot that you're curious about, pause and breathe. Okay, really nice. That's about good. So you can stay on your belly if you want to do that pec opener on your belly. Otherwise, make your way to a wall. By the way, if you're at the wall, you can have a bent arm or straight arm. Just doesn't matter. And then if you're at the wall, you'll turn your chest away from the wall. Okay, 1 minute here. The functional line is an interesting one because it's a bit more, at least for me, it's a bit more almost abstract. It makes sense logically, but it sometimes feels a little bit harder to connect into in terms of like the fascial sensations. And, sometimes when we do exercises, if you think about walking or running or cycling or even swimming, it's in one plane, it's back and forward. And it's really important when we move to think about moving in all these different directions. There's not a lot in my life at all that really requires strength of the functional line, meaning there's not a whole lot I do where I'm pulling back and then really throwing forward. There might be some like kind of twisting motions or even some flexion motions, but again, it's usually just in one plane. So this is a line that I need to visualize a lot more. And you might too. And also just like, I don't know, try different movement styles. And then you might be able to tap into it a bit more. Okay, that should be good. If you're in, if you were at the wall, come to sit. If you were on the floor, come into Shavasana. Wherever you are, just take a few moments. Now, how do your shoulders feel? Do they feel level? Do they feel equally open, or you decide? How does it feel for you? Feel free to move your arms or your shoulders a little bit. So the last muscle group we're going to get into here is the rectus abdominis. So again, think of that like throwing motion. So we when we do something like that, we also need that flexion from the spine. So the rectus abdominis, those are six-pack muscles. They're really superficial, so we don't need to go into anything deep here. And we've got a lot of surface area to work with as well. So we just want to be somewhere around here, okay? So come onto your belly. Just make sure that you're off the ribs. And just use your intuition, place your balls symmetrical. Well, even that doesn't really matter, I suppose. But place it just in those lines that I was showing you before. And you can stay upright or you can lower down. I like to move ever so slightly. It's a little bit awkward to move, but I'm just kind of moving up and down, just finding a little section to work with here, staying off of the ribs. If you find any spots, like always, that are interesting, just pause. If it feels nice, you can do a little cross fibering from side to side. But the rectus abdominis, they're not super wide, so we don't want to be going way off to the side, just a little bit, just side to side. Why don't you find one more spot? So if you're way up high, try taking the balls down low, maybe closer towards your belly button or even lower. The rectus abdominis goes right to the pubic bone, so you could even go there, but just stay off of the actual bone itself. Okay, that should be about good. We're just going to come into our final pose. Just a nice short and sweet one today. So Sphinx pose. So stay up on your forearms, stretching out your rectus abdominis. If you're not feeling a whole lot, take seal pose. So hands go a little bit wider, arms straighten. We won't be here for too long. Really prioritize a stretching of the skin at the front of your torso, opposed to like really trying to find a big back bend. Don't worry so much about the back bend. That might be a result of stretching your belly, but tweak this in a way that you can really feel your belly stretching. A little variation I like to do, if you want to try it with me, is just grab the outer edges of your mat. See if that feels nicer. Take about 5 more big breaths here. All right, lower yourself on down. And we're going to take a few moments to integrate. You can just continue doing that on your belly. You can flip over onto Shavasana, whatever you like, but let's just give ourselves a moment to feel and digest. And you can push yourself on up. And you are all done, my friend. I hope that you were able to tune into the functional line and feel it. As I said, sometimes this one's a little bit more abstract. You need to visualize, but with time, hopefully, all of these connections will start to make sense to you. So, thank you, and I'll see you again soon.